Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 26th of September for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you the standout features to look out for, but please stay with me. I will then dive deep to give you in much greater detail each of the 12 zodiac signs from Aries through to Pisces. So as we go into this new week, so the power of the new moon in the sign of Libra and its opposition to Jupiter, which ended last week, is pouring, cascading its energy into this week too, because the Sun and Jupiter are in opposition for much of the week. Now this is a very nice state of affairs. What's not to like? Well, it's simply that. Mercury in its retrograde is in a direct opposition with Neptune. And that particular link, even though Mercury is in one of its two home zones of Virgo, really can create quite a lot of confusion. And even where we're trying to be very diplomatic, reaching into the other person's viewpoint, we're trying to be good listeners, be a little bit more detached in terms of understanding that maybe people see things in a different way, it can all turn to mush with that particular and complex opposition. In fact, we could encounter someone who could actually tell us something that's absolutely a bare-faced lie. So really important to temper the enthusiasm and optimism of Jupiter being opposite the Sun with a real dash of realism. And fortunately, Mars, which is in the part of the zodiac which is very much to do with everyday communications, that's in a very stable link to Saturn in the sector of the community. So that gives us one opportunity to be a bit clearer. And then on Thursday, Venus moves into the sign of Libra. So joins up with the Sun. This is the sign that Venus governs along with Taurus, and it's going to be in opposition with Jupiter too. So I think we just got to try and see the best in each other, to be honest. There's also a very positive link between Mars and Pluto, which can help to cut through some of the confusion and the distortion that Mercury's opposition with Neptune can create. But I think if we could just realise that even if we're quite different in some ways, we do all have some commonalities. And if we can focus on the things that we can celebrate as having in common and not so much focused on the things that make us stand apart, then by the end of this week, there can be a real opportunity for an improvement in all sorts of interactions. The quarter moon, which does occur at the end of the week, is in the sign of Capricorn. So maybe when it comes to those professional relationships, there may be someone who wants us to conform with the expectations of the big business or the organisation or the educational facility we're at, and that's tough. We all have to, at some level, let our individuality go and understand that there are certain conventions that we have to fit in with. But that could be a little bit of a sticking point at the end of this week, but the real way to make progress this week is to try to have a sense of clarity, but also a realistic sense of expectation, but then embrace that Jupiter bubbly energy too. Now, please stay with me for your individual forecast. If you would like to ascend above this zodiac broadcast, if you give me 3 pieces of personal birth data of time, date and place of birth, I can give you your year 2023 forecast, the rest of year 2022 free if you order before the turn of the year, and also your life map, your character analysis that can guide you for the rest of your days by giving you searing insights, some of those patterns that can be repeated, and help you to understand them much more. And with my special package, there's 30% off. Please see the link beneath this video. And finally, if you've yet to subscribe to my channel, I'd be honoured if you did so now. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. If you've already done so, thank you so much for your ongoing support. So Leo, your week commencing the 26th of September forecast suggests there can be some sparkling encounters and conversations. If you're travelling, that also can bring an uplift to your situation. But you may be saying, but Patrick, with Mercury in retrograde, isn't that likely to produce some snags? Well, it is possible. And when it comes to marshalling your finances and resources, this is definitely a week where you need to be very eagle-eyed, because Jupiter can bring a sense of optimism to the mix, but it's not an optimism that you should hold too tightly. With Neptune in your 8th house of shared finances, if you are discussing something of an important financial matter, that attention to detail is really absolutely critical. Fortunately, Pluto can provide some assistance. Located as it is in the 6th house of your chart of precision, the combination with Mercury, despite its retrograde, can push back on the hazy energy of Mercury in that opposition with Neptune. But later this week, as Venus makes its way into Libra too, it's not just your ideas that can captivate people, it's even the way you express yourself, the very tone of your voice. If you are someone who writes or sings, you're going to go through quite a magnetic period now. But even if just in social interactions you find yourself chatting to some new people, there may be some really lovely connections that can be made, not just this week, but over the next few weeks too.